The airport was loud. Rolling suitcases, boarding calls, rushed footsteps. But she sat completely still. In a wheelchair near gate 47, a teenage girl stared at the glass wall, watching planes take off without her. Her legs were wrapped in a thin blanket. Her hands rested quietly in her lap. No phone, no headphones, no one beside her. People noticed her, then looked away. Some felt awkward. Some felt sorry. Most just kept walking, because pain is easy to ignore when it isn't yours. Her name was Emma, and what no one there knew was that she was the daughter of one of the most powerful CEOs in the country. Money could buy jets. Money could buy influence. But money couldn't fix her spine. 2 years earlier, a crash had taken everything from her waist down and taken her mother forever. Since then, her father buried himself in work, building an empire while his daughter learned how to live without walking and without being seen. That day, she was flying alone to a rehabilitation center. Assistants had dropped her off. Security was informed. Everything was handled. Except one thing. She was alone. That's when a man sat down next to her. He looked tired. Late 30s. Cheap jacket. A small backpack at his feet. Beside him stood a little boy holding a toy airplane. The man smiled gently. "Hey," he said. "Long wait, huh?" Emma nodded, surprised someone spoke to her like a normal person. The boy looked at her wheelchair, then at his father. "Daddy?" he whispered, not quietly enough. "Why her?" The airport seemed to freeze. Emma's chest tightened. She'd heard that question her whole life. Why her? Why broken? Why different? She braced herself. But the father didn't shush his son. He crouched to the boy's level and said calmly, "Because life isn't fair, but people can be." Then he turned to Emma. "My name's Daniel. This is Noah. Mind if we keep you company?" Something cracked inside her. They talked about planes, about favorite movies, about how Noah wanted to be a pilot for people who can't walk onto planes. Emma laughed. For real, for the first time in weeks. When boarding was announced, Daniel stood and said, "Hey, can I ask you something?" She nodded. He gestured gently toward her legs. "Do you ever wonder why you?" Emma swallowed. "Every day." Daniel took a breath. "I used to ask the same thing about my wife." Emma looked up. "She died when Noah was 3. Cancer. Took her fast." He smiled sadly. "I learned something since then. There is no why her. Only what now." Tears filled Emma's eyes. Security came to assist her boarding. As they wheeled her away, she turned back. "Thank you," she said, "for seeing me." Daniel nodded. "Anytime." 3 weeks later, Daniel got a call. Private number. "Mr. Carter?" a voice said. "This is Richard Hale." The name hit him like thunder. The CEO. The man on magazine covers. "I'm Emma's father," the voice continued. "She told me what you said to her at the airport." Silence. "She hasn't stopped talking since. She's smiling again. Trying harder. Living." Daniel didn't know what to say. Then the CEO said quietly, "I've built companies, but I failed my daughter. You didn't." A pause. "I want to fund a program," the man said, "for single parents, for kids with disabilities. In your wife's name." Daniel's hands shook. "Why me?" he asked. The CEO replied, "Because when the world walked past my daughter, you sat down. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop, sit, and see someone." The rehabilitation center smelled like antiseptic and quiet determination. Emma hated that place. Every day felt the same. Parallel bars, painful exercises, doctors speaking in careful voices, and people looking at her like she was fragile glass. She pushed herself because she had to, not because she believed anything would change. But after the airport, something had changed. Daniel's words replayed in her head. There is no why her, only what now. During therapy, when her arms shook and her back burned, she didn't quit like before. She stayed. She tried again. Her therapist noticed it immediately. "You're different today," she said. Emma shrugged. "I met someone who didn't look at me like I was broken." That night, Emma video called her father. Richard Hale answered from his office. Glass walls, city lights, stacks of documents. He looked exhausted. "How was therapy?" he asked, distracted. Emma hesitated, then said, "Dad, when was the last time you just sat with me?" The question hit harder than any accusation. "I provide everything you need," he replied quickly. "The best doctors, the best care." Emma nodded. "I know, but I didn't need care that day at the airport. I needed a person." Silence filled the call. She told him about Daniel, about Noah, about the question, why her, and the answer that changed everything. Richard listened without interrupting. For the first time in years, he didn't check his phone. When she finished, his voice was low. "I wasn't there," he said. Emma didn't argue. She didn't have to. The next morning, something unexpected happened. Richard Hale walked into the rehab center. No assistants, no security team. Just him. Emma froze when she saw him. He knelt in front of her wheelchair, eyes wet. "I'm sorry," he said. "I've been running from my pain instead of sitting with yours." People stared. The powerful CEO kneeling. "I don't know how to fix this," he continued, "but I want to learn. With you." Emma reached out and took his hand. Across the city, Daniel was back to his normal life, construction work by day, bedtime stories by night. He had no idea that a single moment of kindness was about to ripple into something far bigger than him. Because when one person chooses to sit instead of walk away, even the most powerful hearts are forced to stand still. The auditorium was full. Rows of wheelchairs, single parents, children holding hands with tired but hopeful faces. No cameras, no press, just people who had been told no by life too many times. Daniel sat in the back, uncomfortable in his clean borrowed suit. Noah swung his legs beside him, whispering, "Daddy, why are we here again?" Daniel smiled softly. "I don't know, buddy, but I think it's something good." Then Emma rolled onto the stage. She looked stronger, confident, alive. Applause filled the room. Not out of pity, but respect. She took a breath and spoke. "A few months ago, I sat alone in an airport. People saw my wheelchair, but not me. I thought my life was already decided." Her eyes found Daniel. "Then a stranger sat down and treated me like I mattered." The room grew silent. "My father built companies that changed industries," she continued. "But one moment of kindness changed me." She turned to her father standing in the wings. "And because of that moment, this foundation exists." The screen behind her lit up. The What Now Foundation, supporting single parents and children with disabilities. Richard Hale stepped forward. His voice trembled. "I used to believe power meant control. I was wrong. Power is presence." He looked directly at Daniel. "This program exists because one man chose to sit instead of walk away." Security guided Daniel toward the stage. He resisted. "I didn't do anything special," he said quietly into the microphone. "I just answered my son honestly." Noah tugged his hand and whispered loudly, "Daddy, you were fair." Laughter broke the tension. Tears followed. Emma rolled closer to Daniel. "You asked, why her?" she said gently. "Now I know the answer." She smiled. "Because someone needed to learn how to stay." The crowd stood. Not for money, not for power, but for kindness. That night, as Daniel tucked Noah into bed, his son asked, "Daddy, if I see someone alone tomorrow, should I sit with them?" Daniel kissed his forehead. Always, life will keep asking why her, but love answers, what now? If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.